Question 1. Where do your family originally come from? They come from Denmark. Have they always lived in your town? No, they've lived in the USA and in some other small towns in Denmark. Where were your grandparents born? My grandmother was born in Drøsselbjerg and my grandfather was born in Torslunde. Did they ever move to another town or country? When and why? They moved to Copenhagen and lived there for a short period, and then they moved to Ringsted and are still living here. Has anyone in your family ever immigrated? Where did they go and why? My aunt went to Spain, where she now lives. Question 2. Discuss which of the following factors might decide a person's ethnic group. We think that religion, language, and ethnic background has a big role of deciding which ethnic group a person belongs to. The reason we think these particular factors has a big role in deciding a person's ethnic group is because the human has always been seeking towards other humans who are alike. It makes us safe, and when it comes to religion, it gives us something to both fight for and also live after together. The language is alpha omega for understanding each other and getting to know each other. Also, of course, to communicate, which you can't go without. Question 3. Where do black people in Britain originate from? The Romans brought the black people with them, and these particular black people were from the Roman army. Which country or countries do British Asians come from? Mainly they come from South Asia, but many also come from Pakistan, Bangladesh, and India. When was the main period of immigration into Britain? The largest migration of Muslim communities began in the 1950s, coming mainly from South Asia and settling in inner city London. What is the largest ethnic minority in the UK today? The largest ethnic minority goes to the Indians, with a number of 930,000 people. Question 4. Name as many former British colonies as you can. The British have had colonies in many parts of the world, as Africa, America, Spain, Portugal, New Zealand, Australia, and the West Indies. They have probably had colonies many other places around the world, but these are the one I can name. Why are the colonies important in understanding the UK today? Because of the colonies in so many different places, the United Kingdom also arose. That meant that New Zealand, Britain, and Australia now were under the same queen. The colonies have also brought many different cultures back to the UK. Music cultures, food cultures, and more. Did your country have any colonies? When and where? Denmark, as far as I know, had colonies at the West Indies, the Gold Coast, and in Iceland. In 1750, the Gold Coast became a colony under the Danish regent. The West Indies became Danish in 1755 and Iceland in 1980. What was the main reason for immigration to Britain after the war? Industrial work, because Britain couldn't get enough workers to help them build up post-war Britain, so a lot of people immigrated to get work. Think of two other possible reasons for ethnic groups to change country. We think that people would want to immigrate to another country if there's a constitutional war going on in their home country. Also, politically, violence could be a good reason to want to go to another country. Where did most immigrants in the UK decide to live? What parts of your country might attract immigrants and why? Most immigrants went to live in Cardiff, Liverpool, Glasgow, London, Lancashire, Yorkshire, and Strathclyde. In Denmark, both the big cities and the very small cities could attract immigrants. The, the big cities thus attract many immigrants because the opportunities are endless. But the small cities also does because it's cheap to live there. Question 5. Your country. Describe your own ethnic group. Why do you belong to this group? Is your group a minority group in your own country? I don't belong in an ethnic group because all of my ancestors have been from Denmark. Describe the different ethnic groups that make up your country. Do you know the numbers for each group? Which are the main minority groups? Where did they originate? When and why did they move to your country? How do they contribute to the life of your nation? Denmark isn't as multicultural as, for example, America, but we do have some ethnic minorities as the Middle Eastern people, which is the main ethnic minority. There isn't a particular year where the people from the Middle East came to Denmark, and there isn't a particular year where they stopped immigrating. They still do today, and I think they would want to come to Denmark because of a welfare system and because Scandinavia is the most developed part of the world when it comes to freedom in all kinds of ways. They have brought diversity to Denmark, and diversity is always a nice thing when it comes to people. Question 6. A group of immigrants or refugees will be arriving in your school soon. What aspects of school life might they need help with? The language would probably be a challenge, and you couldn't expect that we would know anything about the normal Danish norms. Another important thing would be to introduce them to other ways of getting new friends and just help them to mingle with everyone. How would you make them feel welcome? Just spend time with them. I think all the other things would come naturally. The most important is to include them. Describe the three things you could do to help them get used to life in your country. I would do what I said.